Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another Dark Park Film Reviews. And thank you for joining me on this video. I really do appreciate it. What this is my own video on the movies that I watched over what I call the Halloween weekend. There is another video over on OGP on his page from last Monday, where we looked at all the movies that we watched kind of over that holiday weekend. I call it a holiday weekend, at least. And so for me, it started on Thursday. Then it went to Friday, which was Halloween. Then Saturday, Sunday, and then I think it still continued to Monday night when we did Horror Movie Monday. There is a link down below for OGP, so please click on it, like, subscribe, watch us on Monday nights for Horror Movie Monday. But what I did was you got to use up PTO before the end of the year. And so I decided to I normally have Thursdays off. That's my day off. So then I took Friday off, Halloween. So that was PTO. Saturday was PTO. Sunday, the whole company is closed. And then Monday, I went back to work, but had Horror Movie Monday that night. And I tried to stick with just horror movies. That's all it was going to be, horror movies. And then over those few days, it just became like, okay, I think I need to check something else out. So there are some things in this that are not Halloween-y, but I tried to stick with it. And over on Horror Movie Monday, I did go into a little bit of detail on the movies that I watched. I did not include everything, because that would also include these guys here. So I gave you a little bit of a preview there of what they are, because I held them backwards. But so I tried to stick with horror movies, and I try to do that every year, but it just didn't exactly work that way. So what we started off with, because this has had a little bit of history with OGP and I, is Haunt. I am blanking. I think he just came out here to visit. And, we went to Zia Records like we normally do. And then we went back to my house trying to figure out something to watch. And he said, well, you haven't seen that movie, Haunt. Let's check it out. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I have. I'm not sure. There's a lot of these Haunt movies. And he introduced me to The House That October Built, parts 1 and 2. I thought part 1 was okay. I hated part 2. If I was watching these on my own, like I decided to just watch them, I probably would have turned them off. I do own both of them, but I'd never seen them before. I just didn't like them. So he goes, well, let's try Haunt. So, okay, I might have seen it. So we're watching Haunt, and it's like, no, I don't think I've seen this. And the movie that I was thinking of is this one here, Hellfest. And so, which I think I've seen. I think I've maybe seen about 20 minutes of this. I'm not entirely sure. With Haunt, we started watching it, and then I think it was 30 minutes into the movie, I was falling asleep. We were watching it late, and there was drinking involved. So it was like, well, let's go to bed. It was late. So we crashed. And then later, during my 4-day Halloween vacation, I said, well, let me try to finish Haunt. And I put it on because I don't own it. The film's not cheap. I mean, it's $20 if you want to buy the DVD. The Blu-ray is a little more expensive. And so I put it on because it's on Tubi. And I ended up falling asleep 10 minutes into it again. And this was during the afternoon. This was on Thursday. I slept in, but I did take a sleeping pill the night before. And so I said, okay, I got to just start this thing over again. So I got up, went to go do things, tried to get, had some more coffee, and then just said, I'm going to start this from the beginning, which I did. I really enjoyed Haunt. I thought it was, well directed. It was well acted. It was, well, edited. The music was good. The effects were good. The costumes were good. And, as you can see here, it says from the writers of A Quiet Place and producer Eli Roth. So these are people who, this is just not their first time movie. They've done stuff before, and they've actually done some stuff that I was like, oh, wait a minute, they worked on this stuff? So the director of this, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, they've done other stuff. And so they're no strangers to, to films. And they have a wide variety of movies that they've worked on. But some that interest me would be like Night Light. That's like a found footage supernatural film that's written and directed by both of them. They were co-writers on A Quiet Place. They, of course, did Haunt. They did that movie 65 with Adam Driver, where he crashes on the planet, and it ends up being that he's just gone back to prehistoric times. Looks like they also wrote, but didn't direct, The Boogeyman, the Stephen King movie. They did write, direct, it looks like produce Heretic. And that I really do want to see. I'm very surprised that I have not seen this yet. They've also done some short films that I've never seen. And they've worked on television. They did 50 States of Fright. They worked on that. I know Joe Lujan, and he made one of those. I worked on that. I'm not sure if these are multiple things, like every year they do it or every couple of years, but I know that I worked on a short film with Joe Lujan for 50 States of Fright. Just not sure exactly, when. So these guys are really good, and I like them a lot. I'm going to be keeping an eye on them. I highly recommend Haunt, and I've heard it's, a lot better than, Hellfest. The only thing I can remember, I think, from Hellfest is a girl or a group of people walking around tents, something like that. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep during this too. What I've started to do, if I'm watching a movie late night, and it could be a TV show or whatever, the second I do and then wake back up, I'm done. I got to turn it off. I got to get ready for bed, hit the shower, and go to sleep. I'm not going to be able to survive the movie. So unless I'm starting it like right when I get off work, I can't make it through it. There's just no way. So this will have to be watched on another time. I've heard it's not as good as Haunt. Since I haven't seen it, I can't fully say if it is or not. I mean, it does say from an executive producer of The Walking Dead. So not entirely sure. But, I'm not a huge fan of Haunt movies. I think that they're okay. But, while they're releasing, I worked on a film with Joe Lujan and acted in it and stuff called Rust 3. And it's a Haunt movie. And their cover, while they're releasing's cover, for Rust 1 and 2, they're combined together, is very similar to this. And I have a feeling that they stole this idea and put it on the while they're releasing one. So, yeah. So I'm in a Haunt movie, even though I'm not a huge fan of Haunt movies. So, which is okay. Then, done with Haunt and everything, and I saw the trailer for Scream 7, and I was very happy with it. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we're going back. Maybe this is old school. I love Scream 1 and 2. I actually prefer 2 over 1. I've gotten to like Scream 3. I love Scream 4. It's actually my favorite one out of the whole series, even better than the first one. I'm sorry. But so Scream 4 and Scream 2, I really like. I'm not a huge fan of Scream 5 and 6, and I'm glad that they're their own thing. Um, they're well made and the effects are good and all that. I don't like the Billy Loomis stuff. I really hate that. And it's just one of those things where I don't know. I like them. I can watch them. I guess I'll probably do some sort of marathon before part 7 comes out, which is next year, February, I believe. So being in the mood to watch Scream, I thought then I would watch Scream 4 again. So, I love Neve Campbell. She is on my list for one of my favorite hot actresses that I try to just watch pretty much everything that they do. Mila Jovovich being number 1. And this also has on it Emma Roberts, who I also love. I have a big crush on Emma Roberts. So I got kind of the double whammy here. And I really like Scream 4. I think it's to me, it's almost like they took everything from like 1, 2, and 3. They threw out all the bad stuff and enhanced all the good stuff and put it in part 4. I think this is a great meta film. I think that this is just I love Scream 4. I can watch it anytime. It doesn't matter. But if you say, hey, do you want to watch Scream 1? I'd be kind of like, I've seen it. Do you want to watch Scream 3? I don't know. Maybe. Do you want to watch Scream 2? Sure. Do you want to watch Scream 4? Definitely. And so I really like this. And this is the Blu-ray DVD digital copy. And then Haunt was on Tubi. And then showing also Hellfest, this is DVD. So I'll mention those as we go on. But yeah, I just love this. And I think it's the best in the series so far. And I like this, like I said, I like the Scream 7 trailer enough to where it was like, let's watch a movie I've already seen like 4 times, could be even more. But there are certain things in Scream 5 and 6 that I do like. I just hate the Billy Loomis stuff. I really do. And that de-aging, it just looks awful. It looks so bad that I really wish that they would have done a test and gone, yeah, this doesn't look good. Let's not do it. So I recommend, if you haven't seen it, Scream 4, but it definitely helps to watch Scream 1, 2, and 3, especially if you're going to go see Scream 7. You're probably going to have to watch all of them. Excuse me. 1 through 6. But I definitely recommend, Scream 4. I also like that it takes place in Northern California, and I used to live in Northern California. It's the locations, the music, Ghostface, of course, the voice of Ghostface. A lot of the characters I enjoyed. The only character I really didn't like up to this point was Courtney Cox's hair in Scream 3, which was like a crime against humanity. But once we hit Scream 5 and 6 with what is it, the Core 4 or whatever it's called? No, that just sucked. That was awful. And then I see in the trailer that there are the twins are back for Scream 7. No, I just don't like that group of characters. I don't. And but Scream 4. So that's what I recommend. Really, really enjoyed it. And of course, you get, Emma Roberts there in a nice lumberjack shirt. So that is nice. Then later on that night, I decided, well, let me watch something else. Let me see. And so I'm watching the movie Splinter. I haven't seen this in a while. And I sent it to OGP. I'm saying, hey, I'm watching this movie called Splinter. I think it's pretty cool. You might like it. And he found it online, might be Tubi. And so it's this film here. This is a really cool, I don't think a lot of people know about this movie, creature flick. And what it is that it could be something from outer space, but there's a reason why there's like these little kind of pointy things shooting down. Those aren't teeth. It's almost like a porcupine. That it's this creature that if you even prick your finger on it, it completely messes you up. It's I guess if it's your finger, it takes a lot longer because it invades your hand and it takes over everything. And these spiky things come out of you and they kind of form together into this one big creature that you cannot touch it. You cannot get near it. And if it touches you, you might as well just kill yourself. This is a really good movie. I enjoy this quite a bit. And I think this is just the Blu-ray in here. Yeah, just the Blu-ray. So it's the idea is that it's a couple who goes camping. They don't like going camping. And so they're headed down the road. They see a truck that's broken down with two people, and they go to pick up the two people. And one of them ends up being a criminal and his girlfriend. And then there's our main girl and her boyfriend. And I don't think we get, yeah, there's our main girl. And then there's the boyfriend. And then there's our bad guy. That might be his girlfriend. But it's a one location movie that it takes place for the most part in a garage and like a gas station. And they're inside like the mini mart part of it. And they're trying to keep this thing out. And it keeps moving around and growing with each person. It's kind of like the Blob. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger with each person that it kind of absorbs into its body. And there is no, and this is kind of like the thing, that there really is no distinct look for it. It's just incredibly spiky. And it keeps growing and moving around. And it can, if it separates, it then becomes like two of these things. So there's really no way of stopping this. I think if they made Splinters or Splinter 2, I don't think that it would basically just be taking over the world. And so these people have to kind of all come together and, work together, even though they're complete opposites, and defeat this thing, or at least get out of the mini mart and escape. I thought that this was really good. I've seen it a few times now. This is probably my third watch on it. And I really like this film. I originally rented this out. I forget where. It might have been Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, something like that, with another movie called Alien Raiders. I don't like the name of it, but it is also a one location film that's a supermarket. And these people it's more sci-fi than horror. And these people they're part of a group and, or like a unit, and they go into the supermarket and they're trying to find out of all the people in the supermarket, who is the alien? And so once again, that's kind of the thing where who is this alien? That's a pretty cool flick too. It's a good double feature with this, even though one's more horror and one's more sci-fi, but there are two really good one location movies. So I would check out both if you can. If OGP can watch this, that means it's probably, I'm going to guess, because I don't think he had a problem watching it or finding it. I think probably Tubi, but definitely check it out. It is definitely worth it. I don't want to get too involved in talking about it because I don't want to take away from any surprises. So Splinter. Then I also watched, this was recommended by OGP. So Donald Wills and I, here on this channel, we do once a month film discussion. So his suggestion for a film discussion for this month, which you can find on this channel, is Nosferatu. And so we watched the three Nosferatu films. So the original Silent, the remake with Klaus Kinski, and then the brand new one. And I decided to throw in some extra stuff. So I also watched Shadow of the Vampire, which is a fictional kind of like biopic on the behind the scenes of the original Nosferatu. And it's like John Malkovich, Willem Dafoe. It's got a great cast. Good film. And then I watched the remake from the 70s with Klaus Kinski. And then I also watched a documentary which I thought had a little bit more to do with Nosferatu, but it's only mentioned twice, called My Best Fiend, which is Werner Herzog's documentary about his pretty much toxic relationship over 8 films with Klaus Kinski. And then I watched Nosferatu in Venice, which is a sequel, kind of, to the Werner Herzog, Klaus Kinski Nosferatu, which I really enjoyed. I heard it was pretty bad, but I really liked it. And then watched the remake. I think that's all I saw. I think that's what I watched. One of the films that I wanted to include in there, because it is in all 3 Nosferatu films, and it might even be mentioned in Nosferatu in Paris, is this, the Demeter. So this is the last voyage of the Demeter. So my thought maybe for like next year, next Halloween, is to do Dracula. Even though Nosferatu is Dracula, it's based on the Bram Stoker novel Dracula. They just, for copyright reasons, originally could not use, well, they didn't get permission from the Bram Stoker estate. So they had to change a lot of the stuff. But I want to watch maybe next Halloween for film discussion, do like the Bela Lugosi Dracula, do the Christopher Lee horror of Dracula, and then do like Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. But include this in, because this is like, if I remember correctly, it's like a chapter in Dracula of basically Dracula coming over to, from like Transylvania to England. And it's the ship, the Demeter, that Dracula is on, and how the crew members basically bring all these coffins aboard. And by the time they get to where they need to be, everybody is dead. And so, because Dracula has been feeding off of them. So that's what this is. This movie is about that voyage, the last voyage of the Demeter. I really liked it. I thought it was well shot. I thought it was well edited, well acted. I was a little because like I said, OGP recommended this to me. He said that he really enjoyed it. I did question a couple of things. So I thought, okay, would there be a black guy on this boat? I thought this was a little girl, but it's actually a little boy. Because I thought, well, why would this little girl be on the boat? And then the boy is actually the son of the captain. So that makes sense. And the boy is actually, he's pretty good. He's one of the best things in the film. The black guy that's on here, it makes sense time-wise, like year-wise, for him to be on here. No problem there. I like for things to be a little historically correct. So he was good. Then I messaged OGP and I'm like, well, I'm surprised they haven't figured out a way to get a woman in. And boom, they did. So, and she was fine. She was okay. So you basically got like, this adult kind of white crew, I guess, with this little boy. And then you also have the black crew member. There is, like a guy or two that's a little racist, which is fine because they would be at that time period. And then they got the woman on here. So you're kind of hitting a few of those check marks on here to have a diverse cast. Didn't really bother me. It was fine. I thought it was good. This is a Blu-ray DVD digital code combination. It is a collector's edition. It's got some special features, which are nice. And so I recommend this. The Legend of Dracula is Born. This is definitely worth it. If you are interested in a Dracula movie where he looks kind of more like a bat this is the one to get. And it would be fun to watch with other Dracula films. So if you were to watch, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, you could watch this before it. Or if you were to watch, Horror of Dracula with Christopher Lee, the Hammer movie, you could probably watch this before it and kind of get an idea of that little section of the book where it kind of fits into, the whole Dracula story. So this is something that I do recommend, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And I was never bored. OGP told me that some people said it was boring, or what. I didn't find this thing boring at all. And surprisingly, I did watch this late night. I did not fall asleep at all. I was wrapped into it. I was really into it. Plus, I was coming off of doing the film discussion video with Donald. So I was all Dracula. I mean, it was just all about vampires and Dracula and all that. Maybe one year just do Frankenstein. I think that could be fun too. But yeah, definitely The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Check it out. I ended up purchasing it just because I like collecting. Well, since I bought a lot, I bought everything for Nosferatu. There is a remake that is, I think it's on like Prime, and it's also on Tubi, which is also a Nosferatu remake, but it's a low budget one. I still need to watch that one. I can't find a physical copy of it. So there's a lot of stuff out there to watch when it comes to Nosferatu. And of course, Dracula. There's a ton of stuff. But if this is one that you haven't seen and you've seen all the other Dracula movies, check it out. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. So then I wanted to take a break from just regular kind of horror type of monster stuff. I am into the DC comics, animated movies, regular like live action films and all that. So I was looking around my collection and I Googled, are there any DC comic book animated films that take place on Halloween? And I thought maybe there'd be more than one. There really is only one. It's on 2 discs though, because it's a 2-parter. And that is Batman The Long Night Part 1 and 2. So this has a killer that is named Holiday and basically strikes on holidays. So it starts off with Halloween and then goes into Thanksgiving, Christmas. We get a few other holidays thrown in there. And this is a pretty cool villain that's in here. You also get the creation of Two-Face. So both of these are around, I want to say like an hour, 85 minutes and 87 minutes. This one is PG-13. This one is rated R. These DC movies, I would probably say at least 90% of them, because a lot of these are TV shows that kids could watch and then they make them into movies. These types of films, though, are not for kids. There's a lot of violence, a lot of swearing, nudity. This is full adult stuff. This is also considered to be, The Long Halloween is considered to be one of the best comic books or graphic novels for Batman. And this is highly regarded as one of the best animated adaptions from that material. So where a lot of these I've noticed, because I use a YouTube channel that's kind of a versus type of thing, where it's the comic book versus the animated movie and what changes. They change a lot of stuff. Like The Killing Joke, for example, is very different animated from the comic or graphic novel. And but I really enjoyed these. I've never read the comics or graphic novel on this. But I mean, you're also getting, you got Catwoman down here. There's the Joker. You're getting Scarecrow, Poison Ivy. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this. There's also want to say the Mad Hatter is right there. So these are definitely worth it if you're into. And surprisingly, OGP's kind of went, huh? Holiday Killer, huh? I've never heard him do that at all with any animated thing. He doesn't watch them, but this actually kind of piqued his curiosity. So who knows? Maybe he might get into these. So there's Matt is a big comic book person too, and game person. And so who knows? Maybe, excuse me, the three of us can get together and check some of these out. But yeah, definitely Batman, The Long Halloween Parts 1 and 2, because they came out at different periods. But I was able to watch them back to back because I have the Blu-rays of them. So yeah, definitely recommend both of these. Now, with watching all of this DC Comics animated movies, watching the Arrowverse, and doing all this stuff that's comic book related, my priorities on things have changed a little bit. It's kind of gone from horror to sci-fi, and now it's kind of going into the superhero stuff. I'm not into Marvel as much as I am into DC. I'm more of a DC guy. And I like science fiction more than horror, to be honest, but I'm still dedicated to horror movies. But I just think that you could do more with science fiction than you can with horror. But I am a fan of Superman Returns. I like Brandon Routh as as Superman. I thought that he did a very good job, and he got screwed. They made one movie. I just rewatched it, only a couple days ago, and I probably like it even more. So I told OGP, I said, hey, I'm going to be watching Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, which is with Brandon Routh. And I just think, I think that he's a good actor. He's a good Superman. He's in the Arrowverse. So, and then he went to be a regular character on Legends of Tomorrow. So I've always wanted to watch this. And like I said, I sent it to OGP. He ended up turning it off. He's just like, this isn't for me. It's not my thing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I watched it. It isn't the greatest movie ever made. He does fight, different creatures, and you could and it's based off of like a graphic novel. In that this was meant to be probably an ongoing franchise. I could see why it wasn't. It's very much like just Constantine meets Men in Black, except you're dealing with things like zombies and werewolves and things like that instead of aliens and angels and demons, and then aliens, from like outer space. But it even has the annoying sidekick in it. But it's not horrible. I can just get why it didn't catch on. And this is just the Blu-ray. Are there any special features on this? I think there are, but I don't remember because I didn't watch any, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's okay. If you like, Brandon Routh, I'm sorry if I keep sounding like I'm putting an L in there because I'm thinking it's Ralph all the time. Routh. But see, there's that L. Routh, Brandon Routh. I think I'm saying that right. If you're curious of what kind of ever became of him, or just want to check out some of his movies, or if you're curious in a Constantine, Men in Black, even that R.I.P. movie that Ryan Reynolds was in, kind of the same thing, except that's with like ghosts and evil spirits. Check this out. It's worth at least a watch. So it's not bad. It's not horrible. But I don't know how many times I will watch it. It will sit in my comic book collection of movies because it's, like I said, it is a graphic novel. So I won't be getting rid of it. I just don't know when I will be watching it again. Then OGP said, hey, I'm going to watch a movie. Do you have this? And I said, no, and I can't find it. So what he's going to be what he watched was Lake Mungo. And I ended up watching this too. Now, I will be buying a copy of this. I enjoyed it. He thought it was okay. I thought originally it was maybe found footage. It's not. It's a mockumentary. So it's this family goes on a vacation. The daughter disappears in the lake. Nobody knows where she went. They then find her body later on. She gets identified. And then ghostly things start happening in this house. There's a mother, there's a father, there's a son, and then you got the dead ghost daughter. They start investigating the house. They set up cameras, kind of like Paranormal Activity. And then as they kind of get in deeper and deeper and deeper into this, you find out more and more about the daughter's secrets that she, has kept from everybody. Well, hence they're a secret. It does say in the poster, in 2008, Alice Palmer died. Her nightmare didn't. So I'm thinking, okay, Lake dies, Laura Palmer, Alice Palmer. Are we going to be getting like a Twin Peaks type of thing here? Are we going to figure out by the end of the movie, oh, the dad killed her, or the son killed her, or something like that? Maybe the mom did something. Maybe there was an accident and they were trying to, hide the body or whatever it is. So I won't say too much. I enjoyed it. OGP thought it was okay. I like this poster a lot. And it is something I will be purchasing down the road. I'm glad I watched it. I got totally into it. I think OGP did find it to be a little boring, but I was gripped. I got into this as it went on, and more secrets were revealed. I was more interested in it, kind of making my own ideas of, okay, well, what do these secrets really mean? What is going on here? And all my thoughts were wrong. But I highly recommend Lake Mungo. I thought it was originally, and I was not going to watch it. There is a movie, and I couldn't think of it. OGP. Oh, no. When we were on Horror Movie Monday, one of our friends, let us know what it was. That it's this movie called Eden Lake. I think it's called Eden Lake or Lake Eden. And it's basically these two people go camping, and then these like teenagers or something torture them. I don't want to watch that. I saw the trailer. I've seen a couple scenes. I don't want to watch that film. I just don't care. That's what I thought this was at first. And I'm like, no, I don't really want to watch this. And then OGP told me, oh, no, it sounds more like a ghost story. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that's the movie then. I think this is a totally different movie. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. So I watched it, and I'm glad that I did. So definitely check this out. I found it on Tubi, I believe. And so Haunt was on Tubi and Lake Mungo was on Tubi. So you have two of those that you can check out. So these are two that OGP couldn't find. Oh, so I think he found one that I couldn't find, and then I found some that he couldn't find. So I talked about both of these. These are part of the Ghost House Underground series. So that's these. A lot of them come with this slipcover, but I ordered these off of eBay. And if you're going to do that, you got to make sure, try to find them with the slipcover. because then they look like this. So some of mine have the slipcover, some don't, because at the time I didn't realize that they came with this cool slipcover. This is the DVD, and it's called Dark Floors. The makers of 30 Days of Night and The Grudge present Dark Floors. And right below it, it says the Lordy Motion Picture. And it shows a picture of like an elevator. Don't get off on the wrong floor. So I watched this and I really liked it. The last 10 minutes, I'm a little iffy on. I took it as one way. I listened to the last, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that, of the audio commentary. I think it's the director and maybe one of the producers. Oh, no, it's commentary with the director and Mr. Lordy. So before I get anything more into this, the Lordy Motion Picture, what that is, Lordy is a Finnish band. I had to look all this stuff up. I had no idea. There's even there's like a short 10-minute, I think, behind the scenes too. And there's a music video from Lordy. Lordy, I'm guessing Lordy is big. I've never heard of them. I guess maybe they're big in Finland, but they play the monsters that are in this. So Mr. Lordy is the lead singer of the band. They kind of look like the Misfits with like when Michael Graves was with them, or even Guar. And so they have this very kind of monster look to them. And there's a song or two in this from them. So that's why it's saying the Lordy Motion Picture, because it's kind of like Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park, where it really is a movie where the band plays characters. I guess they kind of play what they are in the band, but there's like a demon, there's a mummy, there's all these different creatures in here. So there's an elevator. Oh, and the lead singer, Mr. Lordy, did the cover for this. So the idea is, it is a one location movie. It takes place in a hospital. It's a Finnish film, I believe, with maybe American actors, or they could be dubbed. I'm not sure. But they're in this hospital. It's a dad with his like mentally handicapped or challenged daughter. She's in a wheelchair. And there's a nurse, a security guard, the dad and his kid. There's a jerk guy with a teddy bear that's trying to visit the daughter. So is it 5 people? Like a total of 5? I think so. And they get into an elevator, and it does weird things, kind of goes up and down, shakes, there's lights going on and off and all that. And they get the doors open, and the hospital is completely deserted. It looks like it's been through World War III in there. You know, it just looks like the end of the world. It's all messed up. They can't find anybody. Lights are flashing on and off. They're getting weird transmissions from the TV and radio. And it's very Stephen King, actually. And it kind of reminded me of the Langoliers. And they walk around trying to figure out what's going on and how to get out of there. Of course, you got, the dad and his daughter, the nurse who cares really for everybody, but especially the daughter. The security guard is a black guy, and then the asshole who's holding the bear for his daughter is like a white guy. So there's a little bit of tension between those two. And they meet up with these monsters, and this is one of them here. And it's like this giant, I don't know, it's not really like an ogre type of thing. It's just this giant monster. And oh yeah, there's the jerk guy right there. And then the hospital that looks all crappy. And this is DVD. So, and what's nice is none of these things are horribly long. They're all like 90 minutes or under, which is great. And they just have to battle these monsters, and they're on, I think they're on like the 3rd floor, and they're trying to get down, and they, like I said, they get these weird transmissions, these like weird echoing transmissions. It's good. This is good. I really enjoyed this. But like I said, it's really like the last 5 minutes, but I guess 10 minutes leading up to it, where I questioned it. And then I listened to the audio commentary, and I think it's the director who gives his opinion and says, well, if you think this way, you're an idiot because this is how it really happened, which is not a nice way, especially, to address people watching your movie, because they obviously liked it and now they're listening to the audio commentary. So that's twice. And you're saying, well, your opinion on the ending or your idea is stupid. You're an idiot. This is really what it is. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really sure how I'm really seeing the ending of this. So I think it's more subjective. I don't think anybody is an idiot. I think that it's kind of like what you make of it. But minus that, I really recommend Dark Floors. So please check that out. It's got some decent special features on here too. Then my last regular one, and this is the last one that I showed over on Horror Movie Monday. It's from the same place. It's Ghost House Underground, and it's got its slipcover too. It is called Trackman. This is unrated. Also, the makers of 30 Days of Night, The Grunge, present Trackman. A lot of these trailers for these movies are on these discs. This is also DVD. So I wrote down, I think, because they give you this booklet here. And inside, I don't think this is all of them. There might be more, but these are a bunch of them that you can get. So there's like Brotherhood of Blood, Dark Floors, Room 205, The Substitute, The Last House in the Woods, Trackman, Dance of the Dead, and No Man's Land, The Rise of Reeker. No Man's Land, The Rise of Reeker is a sequel to the movie Reeker, which is not part of this series. I like the original Reeker better than this one, but I liked both. I've seen Dance of the Dead, and I've enjoyed it. Zombie movie. And of course, I own Trackman and I own Dark Floors. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like Brotherhood of Blood has Ken Foree in it and Sid Haig. That's this one here. Looks like it might be werewolves. And so I'm going to pick these all up. There might be more of them, but I've enjoyed what I've watched so far. They also have a movie called The Thaw, which is with Val Kilmer. And it's like The Thing. They're up in the Antarctic, snow. They find a woolly mammoth in the snow, and there's these bugs inside of it, and they multiply. They as they feed off of bodies, there becomes more and more of them, and then they get inside you and can control you and stuff. I thought it was very much like The Thing, and I liked it quite a bit. Another one location type of movie. But Trackman, I really enjoyed. So I had originally thought, looking at this cover just on the internet, oh, it's probably like My Bloody Valentine. That's probably like a killer miner, and then he goes around killing everybody in the mine shaft. No, this is actually a Russian film. You can get it dubbed in English, or you can get it in Russian with English subtitles. So this film more or less takes place inside these tunnels. So we got bank robbers. They take some hostages, and to kind of like outwit the cops, they go into these tunnels. There's another film called Raw Meat that is similar to this in like subway systems that I also really enjoyed. So they're down there. They got their bag of money, which really didn't seem worth it because some people do get killed during the robbery. I mean, if you had like maybe one bag each, because there's three robbers. 1, 2, 3. I think 3 robbers. And then there's 4 hostages. If they maybe had these kind of duffel bags with money each, but instead they just had like one duffel bag that didn't look like it was filled with a ton of money. But okay, whatever. And so they're down in these tunnels, basically trying to get from one end to the other to fake out the cops. And they really didn't need the hostages. I think the hostages were just there. The writer just probably put them in to, because they need to be killed by the track man. Who is this? Who I think is pretty cool looking. I don't really know what you would call his clothes, but he's got this mask on that looks pretty cool. He does use a pick, and he's got this eye device that for some reason he collects eyeballs. And he takes this device and it's almost like a corkscrew. And he puts it over the person's eye and pushes it in, and it pulls out their eyes. And then he collects them and puts them into a jar. This has no audio commentary. It has no behind the scenes or nothing. And that makes me mad because these tunnels looked so good that either they shot in real tunnels in Russia that look like if you were down there for 5 minutes, you would get some sort of disease, or they're sets. And the person who did these sets, the set designers, and props department and all that should get awards up the butt. These tunnels are so great looking, and this is such a great place for these. I really enjoyed this. It is a little bit of a slow burn, and there is, for the most part, he does use a pickaxe. I'm not going to fully get into this because I did discuss it on Horror Movie Monday. But let's just say the two things that I liked about this the most is, one, Chernobyl is brought up. I'm like, oh, I'm on board because I will watch anything that deals with Chernobyl. Then a flamethrower is involved. I love flamethrowers. If you watch Ballerina, it's got like a 20-minute flamethrower scene that I was in pure heaven. I love flamethrowers. And so this does use a flamethrower. So it's well shot. It's well edited. The atmosphere is really good. It's because they're in tunnels. There are some scenes that are a little dark, but the character kind of comes out of that and into the light. The writing, I guess you have to do certain things to move the movie forward. Because this was, does it tell me the time on here? 81 minutes, which was perfect. Looking at the back of this, it seems like the only reason why the women are there is, one, of course, for them to get killed. There is one guard. It's 3 and 3. So it's 2 women and like a security guard, or he's a cop. And then there's the 3 bank robbers. So, and the one security guard is like kind of beaten up a lot. So, he's limping and all that. The 2 women are basically there to get killed or scream a lot and be very helpless because they're walking around in high heels in this tunnel. They're the bank robbers. Of course, there's the psychopath there, and the one who wants to, essay them. Then you have the leader who's actually like the nice guy. Overall, he just wants the bank money. And then there's the guy who's the friend of the leader, who's a little in between. And but everything in this, so with the writing, I guess you have to have that type of character in the film to make it sense, since this is a slasher film. Like I said, it is a slow burn. It takes a little bit, but once it gets going, it's good. I really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend Trackman. I really do. Just be prepared. There isn't like a beginning kill, which I thought there would be, kind of like a pre-credit kill, maybe by the Trackman. No, it just starts off with the bank being robbed. So we don't really get a kill until they're in the tunnels, and they're kind of into the tunnels, and they're trying to find a 4th guy that they can't seem to find. So it's, without giving away too much more, I recommend this. This and Trackman and Dark Floors, OGP and I could not find anywhere to watch online. Nowhere. So I'm glad that I purchased them, but he didn't get the chance to watch them. And I think that he would probably really like them. So, check out both. Now, these are the movies that I did not show on a Horror Movie Monday. Being a DC Comics animated movie fan, I kind of filtered throughout the 4 days. Animated like DC superhero movies. I did a few that were pretty dark because I was really trying to aim for Halloween. So one of them that I did, and this kind of bums me out, is right there is a Swamp Thing Funko Pop. And that is signed by Derek Mears. Trying to get my finger. There we go. Who played Swamp Thing in the TV show. He was also, Jason Voorhees in the remake of Friday the 13th. I've met him twice. He signed a Friday the 13th a Blu-ray for me, and then he signed my Swamp Thing Funko Pop. I have a picture of him where he's holding the Friday the 13th. I got the Funko Pop. It's a great photo. He really enjoyed my story because the Friday the 13th Blu-ray was like 10 years ago, maybe longer. And he's like, wow, you've had this for this. He was really great. When I was talking to him, and both of us were talking about how bummed we were that Swamp Thing, and we're not talking about the first TV series, where I think it's like Dick Warlock is playing I keep saying Dick Warlock. Dick Durlock, I think is his name. I'm blanking. Who played Swamp Thing, kind of taken from the two movies. This is the newer Swamp Thing that was a few years ago. It didn't even last a full season, which really sucks because they were building up to something and it just got canceled. So when he was signing my Swamp Thing for me, and he was saying, oh yeah, it got canceled. It's all politics. It really sucks. What we wanted to do was to do spinoffs in future seasons, kind of like the Arrowverse, I guess. And so he said one of the things they were going to do is they were going to do Justice League Dark, which is and there's a sequel to this. These are like horror versions of the DC comics. So we got like Batman. Here is Constantine. This is, I think his name is just Demon. Deadman, Swamp Thing. Oh, and I'm blanking on her. I'm not familiar with her. But it's and this is rated R, some disturbing violence. This one is, like I said, it is horror. So I wanted to watch this, especially since Derek Mears had mentioned, oh yeah, we wanted to do Justice League Dark, which would make sense because there's Swamp Thing. This was really good. This was interesting. And I like stuff like this. And of course, these things are always kind of confused. Yeah, he's just, the demon. But it's Zatanna, I think that's her right there. But it's, I don't want to go through the whole thing and read this. I watched so many of these. Some of these stories are blending in. But I do recommend this. And this is I think this is just the Blu-ray. I don't think it has DVD. Yeah, just the Blu-ray. I highly recommend this, especially if you're looking for something animated around Halloween. These movies are definitely worth it. So, and it's all about, of course, the villain who wants to take over, destroy the world or change the world. And our superheroes here that are kind of a Suicide Squad in a way, because they're all, minus Batman, I guess, more or less misfits. So this was really good. So Justice League Dark, I really enjoyed that. The next one I watched is, it's called, well, speaking of Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. And I really enjoy this. This is so far the most violent one I've seen. I mean, heads are exploding and everything. This is definitely R. And it says strong bloody violence throughout, sexual content, brief graphic nudity. Yeah, because there's like a full frontal chick naked, and some drug material. This is 86 minutes. And I really enjoyed this. I liked this one a lot. It has, so Amanda Waller is in it. We got Task Force X. So you get Deadshot, Killer Frost, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, Copperhead, and Bronze Tiger. I apologize. My throat is very dry. This, if you want to start, I would probably say with one of these, with one of the DC animated movies, this would be it. This is it. I really enjoyed this. I was surprised of how bloody this is. and I liked everybody who's in it. So, and especially if you've seen Suicide Squad or The Suicide Squad, you're already familiar with some of the characters like Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn and Deadshot. It says in the back here that Copperhead is new, and then you have Bronze Tiger. So definitely worth checking this one out. And oh yeah, Christian Slater does one of the voices, Vanessa Williams, Billy Brown. So I think who's Christian Slater play? Is he Batman? He might be Batman, I think, because he's got that voice. Once I heard, I think it's Batman when he spoke, I went, oh, that sounds like Christian Slater. And it is. So I highly recommend Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. After that, this is kind of an alternate universe type of thing, and it's called Justice League Gods and Monsters. So the three main people that are in Justice League is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Then you kind of throw everybody else in there, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, stuff like that. So this one here is kind of this alternate, like it's not connected to anything else. It is its own world where that's Wonder Woman. That's Batman, who's literally like a bat. He has fangs and everything. And then Superman. God, I apologize. We only have one more video left. I should have brought water. The thing that's different about this, and I don't really get why they did it, but maybe just for, to represent, but we see Superman's ship coming from Krypton. It lands on Earth, but instead of a farmer and his wife finding him, in Smallville, it's a Hispanic family, and they take the baby and they raise Superman within in the Hispanic community. So I guess by giving him kind of like the hair and the goatee, he does speak Spanish from time to time. There is a little bit of an accent. He still is Superman. He's still from Krypton, except that every once in a while he does mention, that he, was not treated as nicely if, he was with somebody else, if it was with the Kent family. So he does have like a different name and stuff. Batman here, this was an experiment that went wrong, and he rips people's necks open. He's got the fangs right there. And so, and then Wonder Woman is much more of a warrior, of a it's kind of hard to describe what she what would she be exactly? I guess it's more of I don't want to say it's not savage, just more of a warrior, she's not as understanding. There's anger there. I really enjoyed this one. I did Google DC animated movies that take place in an alternate universe or alternate timeline or deal with time travel. And so a lot of these came up like this one. So this one I recommend if you want to see a totally different Justice League and that is self-contained. I'd get this. I'd get, pick up Justice League Gods and Monsters. A lot of these can be seen on HBO Max, and I just found out recently, YouTube has a lot of them that you can see for free. So like where did I watch Crisis on Infinite on Infinite Earths? And there's 3 of those. There's 3 parts. I might have watched all of those. I think all of those I saw on HBO. And then I watched a couple others on YouTube. So this is worth it. I love these alternate ones. There's even one called Superman Red Sun, and it's like SON, where his spaceship lands in Russia. So what if Russians raised Superman? He's not American. You know, he's defending Russia. That stuff to me is very interesting. The last one that I have, this one is not horror or anything, but I did want something with like an alternate universe or time travel and stuff like that. And it is this one here. It is, let's see. So it's JLA, which is Justice League of America Adventures Trapped in Time original movie. This one is pretty short. It's 53 minutes. So it says original movie. I've never watched the TV show. This kind of feels like to me like it's maybe 2 episodes put together, 2 or 3 episodes. Like maybe they took a couple parts from the show and made it into an original movie. But because it does say even down here, all original movie. Oh, Superman 75 years. So this is that so we deal with the Legion of Doom. What's cool about this is it's very much like Super Friends. So when you see the Legion of Doom, it's kind of like that weird Darth Vader helmet with like the skull, and it's in the swamp and it keeps rising in and out of the swamp. That's in this. And there's a mysterious being known as the Time Trapper. So Lex Luthor gets it, and he feels that he can go back in time and eliminate Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. There is also in this Aquaman, The Flash, Cyborg, Karate Kid. Now, for those who don't know this, Karate Kid is a kid who does karate. It's right there in the name. When they made The Karate Kid, with Ralph Macchio, they had to license the title from DC Comics. I'm not sure. I mean, if he's just known as Karate Kid and the Ralph Macchio movies are known as The Karate Kid, maybe that's what they had to do to change it a little bit to be able to get to use it. But that's where Ralph Macchio's Karate Kid title comes from, is from this character. So it's Karate Kid and also Dawnstar. So the idea with Lex is to go back in time and kill off Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And of course, all the other, heroes that are like down here. There's Robin too. They don't mention Robin back here. Yeah, so on here, so Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but then there's the Flash, Karate Kid, Cyborg, and Robin. I don't think they put the other person on here, that Dawnstar. I don't think I see Dawnstar on here. But this was, there she is up there. This was fun. This was not it's not rated, but because I think it's from the cartoon, or from the TV series. This is pretty family friendly, but I just wanted something with time travel. And this did it for me. What's nice is a lot of the times it's different voice actors, it's different animators. There are different styles of animation. Some are super violent, some aren't. Some have sex in them, like The Killing Joke does, where Batgirl has sex with Batman, which is not in the comic book. But it's interesting to watch all of these and see the differences between these. Because a kid could say, Mommy, I really liked this. Let's get another one. And then mom goes, okay, well, we liked Suicide Squad. Let's get this. And this thing is like beyond. This is, like I said, R. It is a hard R. So this is only for adults. This could be for like the whole family, but I still recommend this. I just love time travel stuff. I like multiverses. They do get a little boring after a while because nobody dies. I mean, if you're dealing with a multiverse, like both Marvel and DC do, then when somebody dies, you're like, who cares? Because you know they're just going to come back a little bit later anyways. I mean, when they killed Superman in the comics, I mean, Superboy showed up, Cyborg Superman showed up. I mean, they had a bunch of different, John Henry, Steel showed up. It's like there's a bunch of them. So eventually the whole dying in a multiverse, movies, they don't really matter that much anymore. But I still enjoy them. You just got to take them for what they are. But I recommend this one too. I think that this one is fun. A lot of these I got, I either ordered them off of eBay or I got them from Zia Records. So eBay is always a good source for that. If you're here in Vegas, Zia Records is really good too. I ordered some of these off of their website. Which is nice, is that it will tell you. You just do a search on the website and it will show you what store it's at. And if it's at your primary store, you can buy them online and then they'll pick them off the shelf, put them in a bag for you. And you just go in and pick it up when it's ready. It's really nice. And of course, we all know eBay, so no explaining that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It's even got its little slip cover there, which is pretty cool. So try to get this back in without destroying it. There we go. So yeah, so that's everything that I watched, and so we'll just kind of do a recap on stuff here. So we'll start with of course Justice League of America Adventures, Trapped in Time. We got that. Then we got Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, Justice League Gods and Monsters, and then Justice League Dark. Then for the regular stuff, it was Trackman, Dark Floors, Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, and then Batman, The Long Halloween, parts 1 and 2, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Splinter, Scream 4, and even though I didn't watch this, but I thought this is what Haunt was. So at some point I'll watch it. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. And I already got plans for another one. My God, one day I'm going to do my Marvel video. That stuff is right here. I just haven't, just other stuff has come up to do. I really want to do my Marvel video because then I'm going to do also a DC one where I go through everything I own. So maybe that will come up shortly, the Marvel one. But okay, everybody, thank you once again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you've seen any of these, let me know what you think. And if also you can let me know down below, what Halloween movies did you watch? And, maybe I'll find some in there that I've never seen and I could check them out next year. But then, of course, if you're, a horror fan, Halloween is every day of the year. So you can watch horror films nonstop. So, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. All right. Bye.